I was taking up the word praise or mahima today. And what does that mean? In English, we say praise, and praise has a very different meaning from mahima. And so we need to look at it. Because in ancient times, in English, praise meant description. And in modern times, it has lost that meaning, but it still has that meaning in Hindi. Nowadays, this type of thing would only happen in an obituary. In an obituary, what happens is you speak about the qualities of the person who is deceased, right? And so this is what is meant by mahima. So it is descriptive, and it is a collection of the characteristics of the person that makes that person great and important. So this is mahima. And the song is You Are the Mother and Father. And all of the songs that we have are made in the film industry. They refer to Lokik relationships. But when you interpret them in terms of your relationship with God, then the meaning changes. And so also the mahima changes. So this is about that and many other things. This is 21st of December. It is the longest night and the shortest day. So it is called the winter solstice. And now the light is beginning to increase. 21-12-21, 211221, or 122121, depending on which part of the earth you were dating it. Yes, a special day. Om Shanti. Sweet children, keep your faces cheerful. Kushnuma. And also, he's talking about love. In the Hindi, the word love was there. Let there be courage and spirit in your words. So when you're giving the introduction of Sheikh Baba to someone, he's talking about that time. Let there be courage and spirit in your words, and then what you say will make an impact on others. That is, they will pay attention to what you're saying. Otherwise, they know that you're saying something, but they don't listen to what you're saying because they assume that you're saying what they usually hear from people who speak about spiritual matters. But what we say is quite different. Question: what is the father's duty or task which cannot be fulfilled by any human being? And the answer is to establish peace in the world and to purify the impure world. This is the father's duty, and it is not possible for a human being to bring peace in the world. People do conduct peace conferences and they give peace prizes, but peace can only be established when there is, first of all, purity. It is through purity that you can achieve peace and prosperity. So the Father comes and establishes such a pure world where there is peace. And the song is, you are the mother and you are the father. And because of your blessings, we are happy. Happy means provided for, prosperous. Om Shanti. Sweet children, whose praise did you hear? Did you hear about Brahma or Saraswati, or did you hear about Shiv Baba? Who is the mother and the father? When you say that you have no one except the one, then whom else would you be talking about when you say you are the mother and father? Although Brahmins are the top knot, Shiv Baba is above them. And apart from the praise of Shiv Baba, this praise cannot apply to anyone else. And many people are now being given peace prizes. You should also know about the news of the world. You have the news of the new world in your intellects, but we are now going to the new world. And you children know that the praise that is sung applies only to God, the One. The Father says, I am the purifier of the impure. If I were not there, then you Brahmins would not be there either. You couldn't be Brahmins. You would be there, but you wouldn't be Brahmins. Because Shiv Baba is necessary to make Brahma Baba into Brahma Baba, and then through Brahma Baba he makes Brahmins. You Brahmins are now studying and receiving your inheritance from the Father. A Shudra cannot claim the inheritance. Why not? Because the Shudra, the relationship with God is the father of a Shudra, but the grandfather of a Brahmin. So you can only get your inheritance from a grandfather. The one Father is the Great One. Although there is praise of spiritual serviceable Brahmins, and there is praise of deities, but without Shiv Baba, there could not be any praise of any of them. He makes them praiseworthy. You sing, mine is one Shiv Baba and none other, and it is from him that you receive the inheritance. Baba says, I do not receive a peace prize. I am an altruistic server. That means that he doesn't receive any recognition, acknowledgement, or any prize or any money for what he does. And so he's nishkam. What medal would you give me? And would anyone give me a medal? What would I do with a prize? Some give gold medals, or they print the honoring in the newspapers. But what would you do for me? Children, I am the Father. And the Father's duty is to purify the impure. So when you're performing your duty, you don't get honored for your duty. You're fulfilling your duty, so you do your duty, right? So he says, I'm doing my duty. According to the drama, I must give liberation and liberation in life to everyone. And there is a saying, liberation in life, Jivan Mukti in 1 second. Just as there was the name of Janak, who then became Anu Janak. Anu Janak is like the perfect form of Janak. So you have such names here too. For example, there is someone here with the name of Lakshmi, but who is living in bondage. You are becoming really Lakshmi and Narayan. Many people in Bharat have such names, names of gods and goddesses. You wouldn't hear of people of other religions having such names. Why do they have such names in Bharat, the names of the gods and goddesses? because this is a memorial of the ancestors. So actually, they do name people after saints. Like, for example, in Christianity, all the Christian names are names of saints, right? Elizabeth, what's that? Yeah. Name of a saint. But the saints are not deities. In India, the names are after deities, or they are names that that describe very high qualities of a person. Like Gita, it's about the highest name you could get, right? And Sukanya, and the pure virgin. And Harsha, the happy fellow. Right? My name is after a Greek deity, Dionysius. Chandru, the moon. Chandrika, the moonlight. Mohini, the most attractive. And so these are all about something very, very great. So Baba says, otherwise there is so much difference. The people here who are called Lakshmi and Narayan go to the temples of the golden age, Lakshmi and Narayan, and they bow down to them and honor them, worship them. So those deities are called Shri Lakshmi and Shri Narayan. So you cannot call yourself Shri. Actually, everybody does. How could those who are impure be Shri? They say in front of the deities, we are impure and vice-based, whereas you are pure and viceless. So those deities were also human beings, and they lived in the past. No one else knows these things. The Father is sitting here explaining to you, and he also gives you all types of directions. For example, there's a direction. You should make a picture of the virat roop. Virat roop is what? There's two different kinds of virat roop. So what's called variety form in English. So one is Vishnu. And why is Vishnu the virat roop? Because it refers to the male and the female both together in one figure. So it's called variety because there's one male and one female. So that's virat roop. There's another picture of the virat roop which shows all the different castes and all the elements of matter. So that's also shows that you go through all these things and you do that on the earth. So deities become Shudras at the end. So that is called variety. We don't use the word variety to mean that, but you can understand that it means that all the different phases that you go through are included in that image. So the cycle is also Virat Roop. No one else has created such a form of the Virat, the multiplicity of forms. Only you take 84 births, and only you become worship-worthy and then worshippers. For so many worshippers, there have to be many souls who are worship-worthy. So they have created so many images. They even made Hanuman worship-worthy. So they make the image of Hanuman, which refers to Brahma Baba, actually, because he is the person who goes and carries the love of God in his heart, but he's still an Iron Age person with vices. And yet he has love for God and he will do anything for God. So this is Hanuman. So the picture of the Virat form is essential. There has to be the calculation of the 84 births. Calculation means the description of how you go through 84 births, which is a matter of declining. So that's a calculation from the highest to the lowest, and then the lowest to the highest. The top knot, the Brahmins, also has to be shown at the top. The form of Vishnu is appropriate because this is the family path. The top knot of Brahmins should also be shown clearly. So in Bhakti, they have a picture of the Virat root, which has the deities, the warriors, the merchants, the Shudras, and the 5 elements, but not God and not the Brahmins. So the picture should be made large so that you can write on it. You can give an explanation very easily, simple explanation. In fact, Baba does not receive any prizes. You receive prizes. You establish the kingdom of peace, purity, and prosperity. You can tell anyone, we are establishing this. So the context in which we are doing this in the 1960s was the context of the Gandhi's work. And they wanted Ram Raj. Now you don't hear about it so much, but that time, yes. So tell them, we are doing so much service, and so we receive the sovereignty of the world as a prize. So you cannot imagine that whatever you do is for nothing. You're doing it, and there will be consequences, good and bad. This is something so good to understand. What peace prize would anyone here receive? What do you get for the Nobel Peace Prize? $100,000. That's what you get. That's not very much, right? In comparison with the kingdom of the world. You can write, we are establishing purity, peace, and prosperity, which will endure for 2,500 years by following Shrimat. However, you children do not have that much intoxication. You don't realize what you're getting. Who should be intoxicated? Should Shiv Baba be intoxicated? Those who have full intoxication would explain with that intoxication. So first and foremost, Brahma Baba has intoxication. He knows he's going to be Krishna, Narayan. And this is why Shiv Baba says, follow the father. That means follow Brahma Baba. You know this word brahmacharya, which is for celibacy, but also means follow Brahma. So you too have to become such elevated effort makers. This Baba says, Brahma Baba, this Baba says, we are receiving teachings from the Father, Shiv Baba. And you also can remember Shiv Baba. We are Purusharatis, effort makers. And Shiv Baba says, it is my duty to purify everyone. So why do you need to praise me? This is the relationship of Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba. They each put each other up. And they each say, don't put me up. I'm just doing my duty. How could anyone else take this duty of mine? No one can do Shiv Baba's duty, only he. Nowadays, many people continue to receive peace prizes. So go and ask them, are you able to establish peace? Only the one Father establishes peace. First of all, there has to be purity. Peace is there in the world of peace, the soul world, and in the world of happiness, the golden age. In the incorporeal world, and in the corporeal paradise. It has to be explained who establishes peace. You, devotees, call out to God saying, "Come and establish the pure world." Now, who is explaining this? Both are together. Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba are both talking. So you could mention the names of both or of just one. The child is the emperor and the ancestor is the advisor. What do you think? This is a question for many people have this question that Baba had said there is one advisor in the golden age, or sometimes he says there are no advisors in the golden age. But in the golden age, the boy, when he gets married, becomes the emperor, but his father is his advisor. So that's the ancestor. Who churns the ocean of knowledge? So if you had already figured this out, it means you would have churned the ocean of knowledge. Would it be Shiv Baba who churns or Brahma? Both are together anyway. So just the jaggery and the bag that contains the jaggery knows this. So you know about molasses. If you put molasses in a paper bag, what's going to happen? The paper bag will be soaked. So they both know the sweetness of the molasses. So you cannot tell who is giving directions to have the pictures made and how to explain to others. The spiritual service that we are carrying out is also according to drama. Those who study and teach cannot be hidden. Yes, storms will definitely come. The 5 vices will harass you a great deal. In the kingdom of Ravan, the intellects make you perform wrong action because the intellect gets locked. It's a very interesting point to know about. And it is because when you come to know about, or when you see something wrong going on, which happens from time to time, right? So then you think someone should do something about it, or it should be corrected, or something like that. And then it doesn't get corrected in the way that you think it should get corrected. And then you will get distressed, disturbed, angry, or something like this. And then you will do something out of that feeling. Or another thing is what very often happens in the Lokic world is there are people who have preconceptions about what's right or wrong based on conventional morality. And then if somebody is doing against that conventional morality, then you will do something to punish them. And so this is also a wrong action. And the intellect gets locked with paramat. And that's what this is talking about. So Maya has put a lock on everyone. So Maya is the way of thinking according to the conventional way of thinking. Now, each of you receives a third eye of knowledge at this time. So what do you see with your third eye? You see more than what's just in front of you. You see the past, present, and future. You see the law of karma. You see things which mean that you cannot respond as you would respond if all you saw was conventional morality. You understand there's karmic accounts getting settled. You also understand that it is fixed in drama for certain people to do wrong actions. fixed in drama. So then you have to accept it. So this is very, very difficult for people. They say, why? This Brahma also understands what he was. He was Narayan, and what he has become, an ordinary person, while taking 84 births. Only Lakshmi and Narayan would be said to have taken 84 births in Bharat. The father too has come here. The birthday of Shiva is also celebrated in Bharat. So the birth of Shiva takes place in Bharat. He doesn't incarnate anywhere else. Baba says, I have come into the impure world and I entered an impure body. The number one pure soul then becomes the number one impure soul. This is Brahma Baba. At this time, all are impure. This knowledge stays in the intellects of serviceable children throughout the day. The father says, while you are at home, first of all, remain pure and remember Baba. The satsangs take place in the morning and the evening. So during the day, you engage in your household work and you also engage in devotion. So in the Hindu households, they do all sorts of things. They have their little temple in the house and they offer bhog and so many things. Some people worship one and others worship another. And a bride, a wife, is told that her husband is everything for her and she does not need to worship anyone else. So worship also means honoring. So she is told to consider her husband to be her God and her guru. But you cannot do this for someone who indulges in vice. So you can't honor your husband unless he's pure. And if he's pure, he wouldn't be your husband. So that's a problem. So the husband of all husbands and the guru of gurus is the one incorporeal Father, Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. All of you are the brides of the one bridegroom, and each of you considers her husband to be this. The father comes and raises the status of women. It is sung, first Lakshmi and then Narayan. So there is greater regard for Lakshmi. There should be so much intoxication that you are becoming the masters of heaven. You celebrated the birthday of Shiva in the previous cycle also. Baba came, he took birth and established heaven. Birthdays are important because they prove someone took birth. And if God took birth, it means he took birth. He came. And if you don't have the Shivaratri, then there's no sign that God took birth. So the Father comes and teaches Raj Yoga. We are claiming our kingdom, and the old world is also to be destroyed. And these things cannot be held in the intellects of anyone else. No one else can think, we are claiming the kingdom and the whole world is to be destroyed. There's probably some scientific people who think like that. When your intellects have imbibed all these things, you will be happy. You need courage and spirit. You need to practice speaking here. Barristers also practice and become very good. It is number wise. Why are you teaching the 7 days course to people? You're practicing to speak. Because one day you will have to speak in front of millions of people. So that should not be a surprise that paralyzes you. Are you ready for that? So Baba says it is number-wise. There are first class, second class, third class, and fourth class speakers. Make yourself first class. And the stages of you children are also like that. You children have to become very sweet. By speaking sweetly and clearly, you will make an impact. Only the one Father establishes peace, and it is to him that everyone calls out. The Father says, what prize would you give me? He keeps on talking about the peace prize today. I give you children a prize. Nobody gives me a prize. You establish real peace and prosperity, but you are incognito. Does anyone recognize you? No. Yes?
I have to recognize.
Yeah.
You have to recognize yourself, definitely. But when other people don't recognize you, do you mind? It's okay, yeah? You are a secret. As you make further progress, you will influence others. People believe that BKs perform great wonders. And day by day, they will continue to be reformed. Reformed is not really a good word for Sudharna, but you will return to your original condition. Reform is used for juvenile delinquents, and it's used in certain religions for people who have different ideas about what the traditional ideas are. And there is a big movement in the 16th century, I think it was, called the Reformation. Mm-hmm. So that's how you use the word reform. When someone has a lot of wealth, he builds a house of very good marble. When you learn more, you will continue to create beautiful pictures. Everything takes time. This is a very high-level exam. You have to become Sato Pradhan from Tamu Pradhan. So how is the exam? It's like you will be burned. And if you're pure, you'll get through it. But if you're not pure, you're combustible. You know, in the ancient times, they used to burn the witches. And the reason they did that is because of this idea that if someone was pure, then they could go through fire and nothing would happen to them. This is the idea, because it's an ancient idea.
Same thing how Sita.
Exactly. And she went through fire. And she proved she was pure, but then the laundryman said, I don't buy this. And so everybody got up, influenced by this guy, ordinary guy, who made some comment so that his mentality could take precedence over the king. Not very good, right? So don't allow anything like that. Yes or no? Public opinion, very unreliable thing. So be careful of that. So Baba says this is a very stiff exam. You have to become Sato Pradhan from Tamu Pradhan, nothing else. We have no connection with anyone else. That means only God. Only God is my judge. Do you feel that? Other people may judge, okay, have a nice day. Who are you? What do you know? Right? Only God is my judge. Remember that. The Father is sitting here and telling you how to become Sato Pradhan from Tamo Pradhan. Manmana Bhav is also written in the Gita. Manmana Bhav, to be able to perceive the mind of God with your mind. But people don't understand the meaning of Manmana Bhav. The Father is sitting here and explaining to you face to face. You children know that there is devotion for half the cycle and knowledge for half the cycle. Knowledge is that golden age and silver age. You are naturally soul conscious, naturally enlightened, but you don't have knowledge like you do in the confluence age. There is no devotion in the golden and silver ages. Knowledge is the day and bhakti is the night. There is the day and the night only of human beings. This is an unlimited matter, the day of Brahma and the night of Brahma. During the day, it is the kingdom of Lakshmi and Narayan, and right now it is the night. This riddle is very good. It takes him 5,000 years to become Brahma, and he takes 84 births. You would say that you are becoming deities once again. So keep this very carefully in your intellects. The world cycle should remain in your intellects. When you see the picture or the image of Lakshmi and Narayan, you should be very happy. That is your aim and objective. You are studying Raj Yoga in order to change from an ordinary mortal into Narayan, Nar to Narayan. It's also in the Gita quite clearly that the purpose of studying the Gita is to change from a mortal to an immortal. The deities are called the immortals. Krishna was a prince of the golden age, so he was one of the immortals. So he couldn't sit and speak the Gita here in the Iron Age. He belongs to the golden age. That is such a mistake. No one except the Father can tell you about that mistake. And you children know this, but everyone else is choking in the ocean of poison. Maya catches hold of many by the throat and throws them into the gutter. What that means is that you get attracted by another human being's body and get caught up in that, and then you can no longer speak about this knowledge because you went against it. So Baba says, do not fall into the gutter, otherwise you will have to repent a great deal. The Father explains to you so that you don't have to repent. Some have a lot of enthusiasm, and so they quickly obey the Father. Some write, Baba, I'm already engaged, so what should I do now? Baba says, show wonders. So this is a young man who said this to Baba, I'm engaged to be married, so what is Baba's direction to this one? He says, tell her before the marriage that she will have to follow her husband's orders. So tell her that she has to guarantee that she will remain pure and that she will write down, sign a contract in advance of the marriage that she will obey whatever you tell her. And then you can accept her in marriage only after this guarantee has been given. And then you don't need to be concerned. Because what will happen, the in-laws will say, child, 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 make a child, we need child. In-laws will do that. And so they give that pressure. So once you have created a prenuptial contract, then you can always refer to it, because marriage is a contract. And if you write the contract and all the details of the contract, then nobody can tell you anything. But if you don't write a contract, then you get in trouble, because the prevailing value system of pressuring you is going to take precedence, but the contract will neutralize that. Now, if you're a girl, that's not going to work, because the girl cannot get the boy to sign a contract like that. The families would never allow it. So she has to insist that I do not want to get married. Kumaris have to remain very cautious, right? Because Kumaris are pushed around, right? So Baba says, what do you take me for that you say, oh, purifier, come and make us pure? Is this the only work I have to do? The father is joking with the children. You call out, saying, Baba, we have become impure. Come and purify us. So when Baba does come and purify people, they really don't like it. Baba comes into the foreign land. So Ravan's land is foreign land. And so this is the impure world. I have to enter this one and make you pure. And then this one, the soul, Brahma Baba's soul, will come and adopt a pure body. He'll go to the soul world, come back in the body of Krishna. Shri Baba says, I do not have this in my fortune. I have to enter an impure body. He will enter a pure body, but I have to enter. He doesn't enter any other body except Brahma Baba's, and that too, the impure. Many people experience a lot of happiness hearing this knowledge. This is such great knowledge. Therefore, you should make full effort. Baba praises the names of the good effort makers. Some people celebrate with pleasure because they believe they are already in heaven. But here, you have to tolerate a great deal. Do you have to tolerate a great deal? A lot or no? Not that bad, right? It's doable. Harshabai, are you tolerating a lot? No, huh? Not really.
Once you understand, behind that thing, then you don't feel you're tolerating. Not.
Some people, they do have to tolerate a great deal of abuse.
Oh, yeah, we don't tolerate anything.
No, I think we're in a very good condition. But the father feeds you. You get food from Baba's house, right? And wherever he makes you sit, right? Wherever you have to sit, big center, small center, Madhuban, Timbuktu, wherever you have to sit, it's okay. Follow Shrimat at every step. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. And the spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Now, who has to tolerate a great deal is the people in the Philippines, in the south, because they have no food, no water, no electricity, no house, no facilities, no internet, no help, no airport. I'm getting messages from them.
Everything disappeared.
Flattened. 7 provinces were flattened. What happened was a super typhoon. which is hardly mentioned in the media because they can't get any news. They don't know how many dead. Every day the number of known dead increases, but the unknown dead they cannot count because they can't go there. All the roads are down. All the bridges are down. There's no transportation. There's nothing. I have many friends there, so I get messages. But so this is, they have to tolerate. And there are BKs in there as well. And we have no news. So this is called natural calamities. So, Acha, the essence for dharana. Remember Shiv Baba and follow Brahma Baba. Make elevated effort the same as Brahma and maintain godly intoxication. And secondly, become Sato Pradhan from Tamo Pradhan. Do not be concerned about anything else. Follow Srimad at every step. And the blessing is, may you have a right, or may you claim your right to the double attainment and experience the supersensuous joy of the confluence age. The children who experience the supersensuous joy of the confluence age have the intoxication of the double attainment of always having peace and happiness. This is because both these attainments are merged in supersensuous joy. What is supersensuous joy? We'll talk about it. The attainments you children have at the present time from the Father and the inheritance cannot be experienced at any other time of the entire cycle. The attainments of this time are supersensuous joy and knowledge, and they cannot be received at any other time. So claim your right to this double attainment. While knowing the sanskaras of one another, this is the slogan. Do you know everybody's sanskaras? Fairly easy to know, right? Sometimes it takes at least 1 year to figure out somebody's sanskaras when you stay with them. Like, they don't come out all at once, one by one. So while knowing the sanskaras of one another, continue to move along harmoniously. This is the means of making progress. So we have to be very flexible, because a person cannot not have their sanskaras, right? Doesn't matter how many times you tell somebody or you tell yourself to change your sanskaras, that's what you got. These are your sanskaras. So you can modify them slightly, but that's about it. So therefore, flexibility is quite good. You know, have you told somebody, would you do this and not do that every day for 100 years? It doesn't make any difference, right? So no point. Yeah. So supersensuous joy, what is this? And how do you get it? Supersensuous joy. There is in the Gita a lot of very famous lines which talk about the deception of sense perception. And if you see mostly people in this world engage in business, and business, your product is advertised. That if you buy this product, it will make you more beautiful or more thin or more white or more impressive or something like this, more secure. There's a lot of products that make you feel secure because this is what people want. But more than anything, they want to look attractive. And they want to look attractive so that somebody will like them and love them. And it's all about pleasures, sense pleasures, eating, lust, having stuff, lots of possessions. And so all of these things are supposed to make you happy. But they're here today and gone tomorrow. Right? Even you have all these things, you're not necessarily happy. And so in comparison with these sense pleasures, there is this which Baba calls ati indriya sukh. That means, and this word sukh refers not to the emotion of happiness, but to the prosperity. And so the thing which is the most enriching out of all things, that really makes you feel happy as well as be prosperous, is the knowledge. And you cannot grasp the knowledge unless you're soul conscious, I don't think. And when you're soul conscious, then you're on the same level as Baba. You can see the whole world, the whole cycle. And then you feel, yeah, this is it. This is the best. I am the best. It is the best. Everything is okay. This is super sensuous joy. And you can apply this perspective to anything that happens and modify what you have to tolerate. Because physically, you have to tolerate, you face death, you face loneliness, you face hunger, you face thirst, you face rejection, you face characters, defamation. All these things you face, and these are sense perceptions, and they make you feel bad. And then you apply gyan, and you're able to mitigate this information that's coming in through your eyes and ears and all this. And then you can be independent of it. So this is a great thing. And when Baba talks about a big exam, I think probably the biggest exam is when you are all alone and the entire world is against you. Is it? Have you had that exam yet? Anybody? Not yet? If not, it will come. And when Baba was talking earlier about the Kumari having to insist that she doesn't want to get married, in many cases she's totally on her own and the whole world is against her. Because in the conventions of India, a Kumari doesn't have the right to have her own ideas. And in the beginning of the yajna, when the young girls were saying, I don't want to get married, or I don't want to consummate my marriage, because what would happen in the Sindhi community of those days is there would be child marriages. And so the families would get an engagement done between even infants, age like 1 or 2 years old. And then they would perform the marriage ceremony age about 8 or 9 or something like that. And then the boy would go and learn business, and then he would come back And meanwhile, the girl would live with the in-laws, and then she would be trained to function in that family according to the family rules of that family. And then when she's about 16, the boy would return from his training of business, and then she would have to start bearing children. And so those when Baba came, and the girls were not allowed to do anything except attend religious gatherings. They weren't allowed out. They had to stay home. And so they were allowed to go to Baba's satsang until the question of purity came up, which wasn't immediate. And then when they all started saying, no, we want to have purity, then the whole community was up in arms against Brahma Baba. So he had to face being totally on his own against the whole big Sindhi community. And every so often you get situations like that. The Buddha had to face such things. Jesus Christ had to face such things. I don't know about the story of Muhammad if he had to face such things, but it's quite likely. So anyone who wants to be with God at this level, the society will get in the way of it. The story of St. Francis is quite interesting. San Francisco is the city named after St. Francis. And he was the son of a very wealthy trader in cloth. And he wanted to just be with God. And he didn't want to learn business and all this. And so he gave up everything and just put on a sack, like a jute bag. I said, this is it. The birds are doing fine, so why not me? So you always see a picture of St. Francis with some birds. And he was extremely badly treated by his family because he wouldn't go along with the family traditions. And he was also extremely badly treated by the Catholic religion because they wanted good relations with the wealthy people because it sustains the religion, right? And so like this, you get many stories throughout the history of religions of people who had to be totally on their own and facing everybody else because they stood for truth. So this is the exam. And so you will see, Baba has said that there will be, towards the end, that there will be only religious wars. And Harshabai was saying how somebody had a slogan against paganism. What was the slogan saying? You don't remember?
I don't believe in paganism.
Okay. So this is like an indication of this polarization between the different religions. Because at the present time, there's a lot of pressure on people. And when people experience pressure, they try to find who is to blame for my discomfort. And they will find whoever appears to be at an advantage in comparison with themselves. And then they will blame them. And there is a system in Judaism, I think it is in Judaism, called the scapegoat. And this is a ritual that is performed where, all the sins of the city are put on this goat, and he's sent out in the wild to be eaten by the wild beasts. And so this expression scapegoat comes when there is some difficulty, some pressure, and then you make a scapegoat and say, this one is to blame. Actually, it's their mistake, many people's mistake, but they will blame someone because it's like an urge connected with body consciousness, of course, but it's the urge to blame. And it happens very often when there is a crime. I blame the victim. I killed this person because they were annoying me. It's their fault. Or I raped this woman because I saw her ankle. Excuse me, what is this? So this type of energy is increasing now. And so it will take the form of the people who believe in God differently from yourself. They're to blame. And there is some stories that are happening in India at the moment in Amritsar, where there was someone who went into the temple and tried to take the holy sword, which was next to the Granth Sahib book, and so he was killed by the other worshippers. And so this was because it was called a sacrilege. Anytime you do something to any of the religious implements or items or books or anything like this, then that gives you a reason in your religion to kill that person. And like in France a few years ago, there was a cartoonist who drew a picture of Muhammad, which is not allowed in Islam. And so they killed him and all the people in the company. And every so often, something like this will happen. So in the name of God, people take it upon themselves to do atrocities. And so this behavior is starting up again. And it's becoming a norm, which is the sign that the religious conflict is getting going. And so in such a time, if you're a BK, you're a target. So Baba had said once that a time will come when there will be no more white saris, no badge, no ring, no Murli, and no any sign, any external sign of being a BK. Because if you have an external sign, someone will see it and it'll be a reason to kill you. But you are not a BK on the basis of your equipment. You are a soul who is invisible, indestructible, and you remember Baba, whether you have a picture of Shiv Baba or not doesn't make any difference. Whether you have access to a Murli or not, you remember the points. And even if there's zero physical elements, it doesn't actually make any difference to us. But for the people of religions, it makes a huge difference. So Baba has prepared us to be independent of so many things, which is really very extraordinary. And so when we talk about the supersensuous joy, even that is independent of anything physical. He has given us powers so that we can manage all these different tests, difficulties of lack of money or lack of medicine or all of these different things. Because now, beginning hard times are here. And so people are, now this Christmas, people thought we can go and have Christmas and relatives and travel, but now we have more COVID, so there's a lot more rules coming. And so this is creating a lot of domestic violence. So the levels of domestic violence are going through the roof because people have to live with each other in close quarters and can't really escape from violent relatives. That's very difficult. And so we see, in comparison with that, Baba has protected us so well and prepared us so much in advance, and even said, make sure that you have food, that you have water, that you have, arrangements in case anything falls apart. And so we are ready, right? He says, ever ready? Are we ever ready? For all sorts of different things. Yes, ever ready? Yeah. And even the various different tests that we go through as Brahmins, they also make us more tolerant, more prepared, more flexible, more easygoing about everything, because he's prepared us step by step, step by step.
So Aziz asking, can you share more regarding the things that Baba told of the times of end relating to these days and the ones to come? Also regarding service, is it that the form of service at the end times will be mostly through the mind and vibrations?
Yes, I feel so, because things will be very, very tense, and people will be in very extreme distress. And so Baba has told us many times that you have to make sure that you have taken the full power into yourself, so that you're able to be distributors of the power of yoga. And many Brahmins do feel that they have not accumulated enough. And part of the reason is because you take a lot and then it goes away, because our standards of accurate karma, I think, make it possible for the power to leak away. And Daddy Janki used to talk to us about leakage due to our karma, thought, word, action not being really accurate. And so we have to make it really accurate and really be able to use the powers very well and have all the virtues, so that we are not disturbed by these things. And then we can be receivers and transmitters of Baba's energy, because the service at the end will have to be to give people the feeling of relief, because they will be very freaked out by what they're experiencing, because the end times are very difficult, very, very difficult. There is the expression of bloodshed without cause, kuni nahe kale, just massacres for no reason. And these have been going on, but they're kept secret. Nowadays, you find these mass graves and you find out what was done. It gets covered over quickly with bulldozers, but then somebody saw it, remembers it, dig it up, you find dead people, lots. Concentration camps are there in many places. So people are on the edge, and it will not be a time when we can do service to people in the way we do now or make these activities that we do now. It'll be something that is more serious, the circumstances, so that our tapasya and transmission of spiritual energy will be important. I think it's very fortunate that we have all become quite used to the Zoom system, and provided it still carries on. And because it's possible to send out the spiritual information through the internet very widely, and people who are like locked in their homes, or their government doesn't allow them to participate in anything like this on a physical level, but they can have access to it. And so this is more the kind of service we will do.
The next question is around the word paraphernalia.
Samagri. So samagri is equipment, and they like the word paraphernalia. Okay, but samagri is equipment, ritual equipment. And so as I was mentioning earlier about how in the religions they get very upset if anybody tampers with their religious objects. But for us, we don't have this feeling about the religious objects, so that, I mean, it happens a lot, you feel, you get very sensitive, oh, somebody put something on the bog table that they shouldn't put, right? But it's not the end of the world for you. It's okay. Or somebody cooked something wrong in your saucepan. Okay, you fix it. It's not going to cause you to go on a murderous spree, but for other people it will. So this is what is meant by the samagri of devotion. And Baba has said, and it's mentioned in the scriptures, that the devils will throw garbage into the sacrificial fire of Rudra, right? And so there are many instances where people try to disrupt BK events. I remember one time when there was an anti-party group who came into Bapdada's program and started a huge, big disruption. But Baba carried on, BK's carried on, and they got shown out, and it was all right, because we are, our Brahman life is full of disturbances, isn't it? And so we manage disturbances. And if someone messes something up, well, you just get on and fix it or get around it or something. But because everything of ours is spiritual, and the physical things are always seen as physical things, and we don't, like in temples or in religious places, they use the word desecration or sacrilege if somebody does something dirty on your physical stuff. If somebody throws garbage on the murlis, paper murlis, we will not get out of order about it. We go get another clean one. Because we know that the knowledge is not the piece of paper with the words written on it. The knowledge is the knowledge, which is held in the intellect. And so we're not disturbed. But other people, they don't have spiritual, they have religious, so it's physical. So this is this paraphernalia, You successfully managed the Lokic test, trials, and tribulations. Very good. Congratulations. Now, it's good when any BK gets through a big test, it becomes an inspiration for the other BKs, right? Oh, if you can do it, I can also do it. Baba says sometimes we are at war and you will be attacked. People will use the dark arts against you. Okay, fair enough. Be ready. Keep Baba with you. Protection. Face. Power to face, very useful. Great. Okay. So let us have a few moments with Baba, yeah?